Hey everyone, it is Kristen aka Coco Games, and I'm back with another video. I hope you've had a great last couple of weeks because that's the last time that I uploaded. But today I have a little present for you all. I am going to be doing a tutorial on how to make 3D mesh signs from a picture and from text because I'm doing something for my save game, so I thought why not show you all how to do this, because there is a lot of build people that I follow who don't know how to make this is probably the most simplest thing you can make, which is 3D signs. So I wanted to do the tutorial, but I'm gonna give a disclaimer, which is why I haven't done more tutorials, because I've only posted like one official one on this channel and it did not end that good. Okay, people were doing a little bit too much for me, like going in on the way that I spoke, and then at that time like a lot of stuff was going on in the world and they were making fun of that. And look, if I don't explain stuff the way that you like, I'm pretty sure that there is somebody else who's gonna make this type of video or can lead you in the right direction. This is just how I do it. I'm gonna explain it the best that I can, and hopefully this helps all of the custom build makers out there, because I don't know about anybody else, but I'm kind of doing this selfishly because I really want them to make custom signs. I'm tired of just like the alphabet letters. So I'm going to get y'all straight today. I'm going to show you how to do it quick, simple, easy with a sign that I'm going to use in my save file. And yeah, let me know in the comments as we go on if this is helping you. And first things first, please make sure to follow me on Twitch, because that's where I mostly am. Go and follow me on Twitch, follow me on Instagram. I just posted a picture today. And yeah, Twitter, all that stuff. Anyway, let's get into the tutorial because it's honestly not that hard and we're about to just breeze through this. All right, so I don't know why I tried to get screencasts to work, but it was playing in my face. It won't add on to newer versions of Blender or older versions for me, so I'll have to figure that out if I do more tutorials in the future. But for right now, I'll have everything that I'm saying in a simpler like form and captions as I talk. So hopefully that helps everybody who wants it like all the way down, what keys and stuff that I'm pressing. I'll also say it. But anyway, so to get started, the first thing you're going to need is a newer version of Blender. When I say newer version, I mean anywhere from the current version, which I'm using right now, which is 3.1, to 2.8, 2.9. Just because I just feel like that works a little bit better. And then you also need an older version of Blender. You need either Blender 2.79 or 2.70, because you have to use the older versions to get it into Sims 4 Studio, which is another tool that you need, Sims 4 Studio. So you got that? You also need some other stuff, but I'll explain to you on the way. But the main programs that you need is a newer version of Blender. You need a older version of Blender, which is 2.79, 2.70. You can usually get those like in a full list. I'm gonna also link everything down below in the description, so y'all should be fine. And then you need Sims 4 Studio. So those are the programs that you need, and an editor. I am using Photoshop, but I'm pretty sure you can use any other type of free editor or whatever you need to do, because it's honestly just placing everything and adding color and stuff if you want to. It's not that big of a deal, like to where like you have to have Photoshop. You can use any type of editor. So those are the programs that you need. I'll have it on the screen, all of that stuff. But let's get into making this sign. So I am making a sign for the hair salon, and my save file is going to be called Bodied. And I know for some people they make specific builds to where like they would have to take a PNG image or like the logo Or some people just like using font for, you know, things like for a baby room or something. So I'm doing a sign today that is going to include both like a picture slash logo and font slash text. So y'all will know how to do both. So the first thing you want to do is definitely go and find whatever sign you're going to make. I ended up liking this little, you know, hair logo thing that I found randomly. And then if you want to go ahead, you can go find a font that you like. I pretty much already have a bunch of fonts that I like on my Photoshop. But what you're gonna do, you can go to a website like this one, which I recommend, which is dafont.com, which I've been using since I went to college. And I say that like it was literally like 20 years ago. I graduated in 2020. Anyway, but this is a really good website if you want to get custom fonts or anything like that for your signs, or I don't know, anything that you do. So you can just scroll through these, download it, and then you're going to click on it and install it. I'm not going to give a tutorial on how to install fonts. It's pretty self-explanatory. You click on it, it says install. It's installed on your computer. And yeah, so I already have the font I'm going to use. I already have this logo that I like. So that's what you need to find first. You need to find, if you're using a picture, you need to find the picture. If you're using a font, you need to find the font. If you're using both, find both. And then we're gonna head to the photo editor. So here we are in the photo editor. This part is going to be if you are making a image sign. So we haven't gotten to the font size signs yet. size I keep messing those up, but yeah, this is only if you're doing a, you know, you're taking a PNG or like a photo or something and trying to make it a sign, which, you know, like, I don't know, if you're doing an IHOP sign, like you would take the IHOP picture and stuff like that. So lucky enough, the picture that I already chose is in black and I have the rest of it transparent. But you basically, let me see. Okay, so I'm gonna take a picture that I'm actually not using, but I just want to show y'all as an example because the picture that I chose is already like done for me. So in the photo editor, you want to import your image, right? And so I don't have to do anything with this one because it's already black. But the point of us going into the photo editor with the picture, can I find the other one? Okay. So the point of us going in the photo editor with the picture is because you need this all to be black. Like, you need it all to be black. So I'm gonna go ahead. This is only, I don't know how you do it in your other, you know, apps that you're gonna use, but you know, try to follow along because I only use Photoshop. So I'm gonna go to adjustments and I'm going to do desaturate. I think I was in the way, but I'm going to go to image, adjustments, and desaturate. And then I'm gonna go to levels and then basically just make it a little bit darker. So you basically want to take your image and make it black and white. If no, you don't want it black and white. You want it all black if it's like this. Honestly, if it's a full thing, like a full image, it's gonna be kind of hard to make it a 3D sign. Like, it would be more of a PNG thing, but your image that you use should have like a good composition. Like, when I say good composition, like, obviously this is good because it has a lot of negative space and it's not all jumbled together. The way that I'm doing this, it won't look so good if a lot of the photo that you're trying to use is very like solidified. So I would say really try to go for like logos and things that have a lot of negative space, because otherwise this method is just not gonna look good for pictures. But yeah, so the point of us going in the photo editor is to make sure that the photo is black, and that is transparent and all of that. So mine was already like that. I just needed to explain to y'all, like, if yours is colored, you're gonna have to make it black, and then you can color it in Blender or, like, you know, in your photo editor for the texture. So with this, I'm going to save as a PNG. I'll just randomly put it on my messy desktop. And so after you save everything, you want to search in Google SVG converter, because that is what we're going to use when it comes to images and making it a sign. Is we're going to make it a SVG file, which is sort of like taking the text and making it a bunch of curves and dots and points and segments so that it makes up your image, and you can basically do whatever you want with it. So I usually go to this website, which is Image Online Convert. I actually use this for a lot of stuff. But we're gonna choose the file, which mine is right here. Upload it, and then all you have to do is click start, and it starts converting for you. And then finally you're going to download it. And oops, I did not mean to download it twice, but as you see, it downloads as like an internet or web file, and it'll say SVG at the end, which is what you want. All right, so when you get into Blender, this is what you first see. For everyone who knows what Blender looks like and what Blender is, don't worry about these first, not even the first few steps, how I explain this, because I know some people just don't know about Blender or just want to try to make something. And so I think the problem is a lot of people don't feel like going through all the Blender videos because it's not explained in such simple terms. So I'm gonna try to explain this as simple as I can, because this is the most simple thing that you can make, and I promise you. So here we are in the newer version of Blender. So you have to be in the newer version of Blender, because this is where we're gonna make the sign. Like I said, I am in 3.1. Mine will also look different to yours because I have a template on, like I have a whole interface template, so it's gonna look blue. Yours is gonna come gray, I think. So don't think you have a wrong version. I just have something cute on here. And so basically every Blender scene starts off with a cube, a light, and a camera. What we're gonna do is click A on your keyboard, and then you're going to click X on your keyboard, and then you'll get this message that says okay, delete, and you're going to click delete. Simple as that. Now you have a fresh, clean workspace. Now we're going to add in your image. So now we are going to import the image that we made black and made an SVG. So we're going to go to File, you're going to go to Import, and then you should see an option to import a scalable vector graphic. I think that's what that says. And that means SVG. So you're gonna click that, and then you'll go to wherever your SVG is. Mine is in my downloads because I'm messy, but as you see, and then you're going to click import SVG. Now, it might look very, very small. You might be able to see it, and you saw all of this stuff pop up on the side. So what you're gonna do, I don't know how you could work Blender with without a number pad. So if you don't have a number keypad, I would look up tutorials on how to fix your Blender to make it work with the keyboard, because I know that is possible, but I've always had a number pad, so I really don't know what the other short keys are. But if you do have a number pad, you're going to click 7 on your number pad. that is the top view. So that means we're looking down on the image that we just imported. And you know, you zoom in with the middle mouse, and you can move around by holding the middle mouse and the shift key. And so this is our image, literally so crisp, so clean. She looking cute. And so we also have, but it's not like a full complete image yet. It's actually a bunch of curves. So it's like broken down into pieces. Like you can literally play with this how you want. But what I do is I go over here to the sidebar. I click on one of the curves at the top. So the first curve. And then I go to the bottom curve on this list and I click shift. You click shift and the left mouse button. It's so hard, y'all. I wish I had my short keys, but you click shift as well as the left mouse button. So you're gonna click them at the same time, shift and the left mouse button. And that selects them all. They all should be highlighted. And then you're going to click Control J. You see, now it is a whole entire image, but it is not a mesh yet. It is not a mesh yet. Now my girl is not centered, so I am going to press G and X to move it along the X axis. Honestly, I'm gonna have to move it over even more because I want the text to be next to it. And I'm also going to scale this down just a little bit. Because yeah, to scale down, you just do S. You click S and I mess with my mouse to keep it steady. So yeah, but this is not a full mesh yet. So what you want to do is go over to the side panel and you go to Object Data Properties, which is this little like barbell type thing. And you want to go down to Geometry. That's what you should see. So even though it is not a mesh yet, you can still sit here and kind of play with the sign and see how you want this image to look. Because right now, if I was to show you from another view, because we're at the top, if we go ahead and sit it up right, you see that it is flat. And I mean, you can, if you want that for your sign, it can look like that. But for me, I like a little bit more depth. So, yeah, actually, let me leave that up. So let me show you how to get it upright like I just did. Okay, so you should be in this position right here, which is at the top because I told you to click 7. So next, we're going to click, after you join everything, we're going to click 1 on your number keypad because that gives you the front view. So after you click 1, you're in the front view and you want to click RX 90. So that turns it at a 90-degree angle and you want to click enter. So now your sign is upright. I'm going to raise it up a little bit, go back in the front view, which I click 1. And to just raise it up a little bit, I'm going to click GZ. And that raises it up with keeping it still in the right place. And right now that is what it's looking like. All right, so after you have it standing upright, we're gonna go over here to the side panel now, and you are going to go down to geometry. Now this, like I said, is too flat for me. So in geometry, you will be able to add some depth to it. So if I go down to this part where it says depth, oops, oh, that is too much. You can basically add like some thickness to it, but as you see, this is why I say don't pick something that's so solid because it'll look crazy. So what you can do, let's see if this looks better. So you have 2 options to deal with this. So the first option is you can go over to your scene properties that is in the same panel as the sidebar. You click on scene properties and then you go to units And the metric system, you want to set to none, which is what I prefer, to be honest. I do it every time that I, set up a scene. So after you do that, you can go back to the not the material properties shell. You can go back to your curve properties, or like this little dumbbell right here, the object data properties, and then you can see if that helped out a little bit, because I don't know why the units do too much. Yes, like you see, this is way better. Before it was out of control. So that is one method you can do, and then I'll show you the second method after we do a step before this. But I kind of like this. Now you can also, in the geometry tab, change how long it is, or like how far it goes back with extrude. Oops. So if you wanted to play with that thickness right there, you could. This looks a little crazy to me, so I don't think I'll extend it that much. I'm also gonna click on this right here, the curves we have, and I'm gonna right click it, and I'm gonna shade smooth just to see if it does something, but it didn't. I don't know if I really like this, to be honest. I don't think I'm gonna add any extrusion or depth. I'm gonna see if the other method that I told you all I would show you works a little bit better. If not, I'm gonna leave mine flat, which is really nothing wrong with that. You also want to pay attention if you are adding extruding and depth. I have to tell y'all this. You have to be paying attention to the vertices and the faces. Vertices is when, when people say, oh, it's high poly and your game can barely move because everything is so high poly. That is what this is. You want your vertices to be as low as possible, and you want your faces to be low as possible. The reason why mines are so high right now is because it is a lot of curves, and curves, they're very high poly. But I can show you how to bring that number down. And if you don't see this in your, like, the bottom of your screen, I'm pretty sure you can change that in preferences. For you to see where the vertices and everything is, you want to go to edit, preferences, and then you're going to go to interface. Then under editors, you'll go to status bar, and then you want to make sure you have checked scene statistics. So if you turn it off, you won't see anything, but you want to make sure this is checked, because at the bottom you can see vertices and things like that, and that matters in a game like The Sims, because if you wonder why things won't load in or something like that, it's probably because it's too high poly. You don't want it to be high poly. And for a sign like this, honestly, I say it shouldn't be more than like 5,000 max. So like, that is a lot for a sign like this. So let's go ahead, and I'm gonna show you, if yours is high poly like mine, I'm gonna show you how you can, put that down. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure y'all remember that, because that is a big factor in getting anything in this game. Like, it can't be, basically the game doesn't accept anything over like 100,000 vertices, but that is a lot. Like, if stuff is like 100,000, like, God bless. But yeah, so now that you either played with the extrude or the depth, I did not. I chose not to. You can choose to play with that or not. The next thing you want to do is right click the shape that you have, and you want to go to convert to, and then the convert to, you want to go to mesh, and then as you go to convert to, you want to click mesh. So now this is no longer a curve, this is a mesh. It can be fully edited and all of that. Like, it is a full mesh. It's a high poly mesh that I have right here, but it's a mesh. So the next thing that you want to do after you convert it to a mesh is I'm going to show you the second method of making it have a little bit more depth, which if you go over here to modifier properties, which is this little wrench, and then you click on add modifier, and you want to go to solidify. This is another way to add depth, but again, I do not like it. So honestly, I think this part of my sign is going to be flat, but if you like it, you will just add this modifier. And after you add it, I would say, unless you have other things you want to do, if you have other things you want to do to this sign, don't apply it. But if you are fine with how it looks if you solidify it, you're going to go over to the panel. You're going to click this little arrow right here on the side, and then you're going to click apply. And then it makes your mesh completely solid. But I'm not going to use that, so I'm going to go back. Yeah, I'm going to leave mine completely flat, at least for the little hair thing. And so now I kind of want to add a material. So, oh, it already has one. So when you click on this right here, which is like how your sign looks in Blender, it comes with the default SVG matte. This really does not matter because you're gonna make a texture for the Sims, and signs are like the easiest thing to make a texture for. I don't do anything extra for signs. I don't bake. I don't do anything. I literally just add color to my signs, and that's it. So all I'm gonna do so I can see things better is turn down the specular, but otherwise than that, like, you're not really doing anything. And so now I adjusted that. I'm gonna go over here to the corner of the screen, and you should see like a little cursor mark or like a 4-point mark, and then you're gonna drag it to the right, and you just opened up another scene. I'm gonna click 1 on my keyboard again over on this side. Now you want to go to this little square at the top of the screen where it's like a grid and then a little circle, and it's called editor type, and you want to click on that, and we're gonna go to UV editor, and now this should be on the side of your display. So this is how we're gonna place everything for the texture. But before I do that, I already showed you how to do depth to this, how to even get the picture. This is all for like image signs. But now we need to add our text. So I'm gonna push my image to the side. And now we're going to be doing text. So this is how you do, like, get yourself started with doing font signs. So in the new Blender, or like the newer versions of Blender, you want to go ahead and go to add. You're going to go down to text and click on that. So you should have like a full thing that says text here on the foreground. And now you want to go ahead, go back to trusty 7 on the number keypad. And I'm going to shift the middle mouse to get a perfect view. And so now you have your text. And you want to, this is how I do it. This is kind of probably not how other people do it. But now you have the text, right? So to do anything, to edit anything in Blender, you click the tab button. So when you click the tab button with your text selected, this is how you add whatever like word or saying that you want to put on here. I'm going to delete this. Literally, this is just like typing once you click tab. So I'm gonna backspace, and I'm going to put the name of the salon, which is Bodied. We came up with that in chat. And now I'm going to click tab again to go out of that mode. So now it just says bodied, but it is not in the font style that I want. And I actually don't think I have it on with this Blender. So I'm going to have to go download me some fonts unless I find one that I like. So after you have your text saying what you want it to say, you're going to go over to the side panel again, and you'll go to this with the A, the tab that says A. This is Object Data Properties again. And I am going to go to Font. And then you have 4 options: regular, bold, italic, bold, and italic. I am just going to do regular. And then you want to click on this fonts folder right here. So you basically click on this folder, and it should pop up with a bunch of different fonts, including the one that you should have installed. So all of these are fonts installed on my computer, and I can easily just find the one that I want. I think I do have it installed actually. Let me find. I think the one that I want to use is called Signature. Oops, not being there, child. Also, if your font is not popping up, it's because it's probably not like the right version, which means you can't use it in Blender, which I'm thinking that's what happened to my font. So yeah, I'm gonna have to find one that I like. All right, so I kind of want to explain this to y'all because I totally forgot that I wasn't just doing a image sign. So install the font if you are doing an image sign, because that is how it will pop up in Photoshop or whatever program you're using. But to make the fonts in Blender, which I don't know how I forgot this, well, at least for me, I don't know how it is for other people. They probably have it set up to where you can fix this. But if you have the same problem as me where it doesn't pop up all the time in Blender, you want to take that font file that you get from the website in the zip file and drag it to whatever folder you want. I'm going to drag it to the desktop. But yeah, I forgot to tell y'all to do that because I had to go and get the fonts. So yeah, you're gonna drag the font to whatever folder you want to, and you should see it right there. And now in Blender, you can go to whatever style this is gonna be. I'm going to do regular, and you can click on the folder in the font panel, and you'll go to desktop, and I am gonna click on the font right here. So you should see the font right there, and you're gonna click on open font, and it changed my text to that font, and it looks pretty good to me. This is also a panel where you can do the same thing as I showed you with the image that we imported. You can extrude it. Let me turn it up right. I'll go to number 1 on my keypad, RX90, like I told y'all before. But yeah, you can do the same thing as you can with the images. You can extrude it, and you can add depth. Text is always going to be cleaner than whatever image you use, just because like you're creating it in Blender. This is like something imported, so it won't look that good. But definitely, if you've never worked in Blender before, please go watch a video about how to move in it, because I can't really sit here and explain all of that. This is not a course, but basically me just showing y'all how to do the signs. With my font, I am going to add a little bit of extruding, and I don't think I want depth. Do I want depth? I'll add a little bit. But yes, this is pretty good to me. So now that I have the text, I am also gonna click on it and do a right click. Do a right click and do the same thing like we did for the image. Do convert to mesh, and now it is a mesh. So I just did how you get the font in there and the image in there. You can either do one or the other. I usually make font signs because they're easier, but as you see, you can do the image as well. So now I'm gonna put them both together because I'm using both of them. I'm gonna scale this up with S, move it with G, move it right next to it, and make this a little smaller. And that looks pretty good to me. Hopefully this doesn't stick out too much because it is very thin, but yeah. So right now, this is the base of everything. I have my font sign and I have my image sign. Now the first thing that I want to do, because I'm not adding anything to this image sign, is to get those vertices down. And so how I do that is I go to the modifier panel again. This is the modifier properties, and I will go over here to decimate. And as you see, it is 60,000 vertices, so that is a no for me. And so I am going to click tab, which highlights the whole entire sign. And I am going to, if you don't have the whole sign highlighted, you want to click A. You want to double click A. That is how you select. You want to double click A and make sure all of the sign is highlighted. And you want to go over here to the decimate thing that you just added, and you want to push this down. Now, you can't just go all the way down because it is going to mess up the mesh and make it look crazy. So you just do little by little to see how it's looking. I'm gonna scroll it down that much. And then you wanna click tab after you scroll it down. And as you see, it took you down to 43,000, which is still a lot, but you don't want to do it all in one chunk because it will mess up the mesh. So I'm going to click the arrow and click apply. And then I'm going to do the same thing again until I get to the number that I think is okay for a sign. 25 is still a lot, and the sign is still looking fine. So I'm going to keep just going until I'm like, okay, this is acceptable. The font is a lot too, no? It is. So we're gonna have to do the same thing for the font. You really don't want anything high poly because it's not that deep. It's a sign. Like, that is crazy if you have a 30,000 vertice sign. But I'm gonna keep going. Okay, right now it's at 7. I'm okay with going 10,000, but that's still a lot. Like, and the sign is still looking fine as I decimate. So yeah. Let me do it a couple more times. Okay, 3,000 is good for me, and it still looks fine. Okay, so next I'm gonna click on the bodied sign, the font sign, and I'm gonna do the same process. Go to add modifier, decimate, tab, select all with A, and I am going to drag this down, see where it's at, 28,000. No, I'm gonna apply and do it again. Bring it down, get out of tab mode. It's 19,000 now. Good, but I still need it to be lower, and the sign still looks fine. So I'm gonna drag this down. We getting there, and as you see, it's going lower and lower. I say get it as low as you can before the mesh starts looking crazy, because if you notice like the mesh messing up, that means you went too low. Okay, so I can only get it to be about like 6,000 to 7,000 vertices for it not to look crazy, which is fine because it's gonna also decrease as we put it in Sims 4 Studio. But if you could get it lower than that, I say do it. I don't mind because I have a pretty strong computer and this is literally only for me. But I say always try to get it as low as possible. Never do it for a sign. Please don't be doing more than like 10. Like, that's a lot. But yeah, so I'm satisfied with this. So the next thing I'm gonna say we need to do is the texture. We already got it, you know, set up how we wanted to set up. Let me select both of them. I'm literally just dragging my mouse across and I'm gonna do GX to move it centered. And yeah. Okay, so that looks pretty good to me. Now I want to do the texture. For textures, when it comes to signs, I literally just do the color in Photoshop. If you have an image like a logo or something that has a certain color, I guess I can show you. I mean, it's pretty much the same thing, so I'm just gonna go through that process. So we're going back to the photo editor. Okay, so now we're back in the photo editor and you want to start up a new file that is either 512 by 512, 1024 by 1024, or 2048 by 2048. This is a simple sign, so I don't think I need to go that high. Basically, the higher the pixel size, the higher the quality, but when it comes to signs, you're basically using colors, so it doesn't really matter. So I am just going to go with 1024 by 1024, and that is good enough for me. I'm gonna create, and so this is what we're gonna put our texture on. So honestly, this sign for me, I was just gonna make it black. I think I'm gonna do 2 swatches and see how I like it. So I'm gonna do a black version where I'm just literally adding, I'm gonna add a black rectangle. And this will be my black texture. So black. And then I'm gonna do a white one as well. Now, if you have a sign that has like specific colors or it looks a specific way, I would say either you're gonna put the colored version of your sign. Like, for an example, that sign that we made black, to bring it in, you would drag the color version over here, okay, and export it as a PNG. Or you can literally just do the colors in squares. Oops. Like, say, I don't know, you have an IHOP sign. So IHOP sign is white, blue, and red. So I would put a white, blue, and red rectangle and then export it, because honestly, y'all, signs are just like, you're just using the color. It's not anything crazy. Getting back in Blender, this is what you're going to do. You're going to click on either your font or your image, whatever you've made into your sign, and then you want to go down to material properties, and whatever is here you're going to delete. So we're gonna click the minus sign to get rid of that. So everything should be white now. And you want to click on new. Now I'm going to double click this and rename this final sign, just so we know that it's the right texture. And so you want to scroll. I mean, if you're just using this for Blender, because I know some people render, you can just go ahead and change it to any color that you want. I forgot to assign this to the mesh. So what you want to do to assign meshes certain colors or materials is you want to click on the image you made or the font you made or both, and you want to go to tab mode. Go into tab mode, click tab, and then you want to, as soon as you go into tab mode, you see this pop up, assign, select, deselect. You want to click on assign, and then it gives it the color. And then I'm gonna do the same thing for bodied and set that final sign material as its material. It has no material though, so when I click over here to this little ball right here, I can just click final sign, and now they both have the texture. If you go into texture mode, they both now have the same color. Like I said, if you're leaving this in Blender, you can literally just change the base color to anything, but we're not leaving it in Blender. We're, you know, putting this in game. So to bring in the image that we just made in the photo editor, we're going to go to base color and click on the little dot next to the color, and you want to go to image texture. And once you go to image texture, everything should turn black because we have no image on it yet. And you want to go to open and find wherever you put your texture. Here's my black sign, but because it's already black, I'll just do the white version first. Where is it? Okay, so now I have that. Now it's all gonna be white because it's one big square, but I'm gonna show you how to properly like UV map it out. UV maps basically, it's how the program reads whatever like texture you want on it. So I'm gonna click on my text and my font right here. Because this is a sign, I'm doing simple UV mapping. So you want to make sure you're locked into the front view, which is the one on the number keypad, and then you go into tab mode and make sure everything is selected. If you look over to the left, you can see like everything on this UV map is jumbled up, and because we've decimated it to oblivion. So you want to make sure over on the 3D side that everything is selected, and then you want to click U and then project from view. And if you're in that one spot, in that one key like view, the front, you should have it properly, like, you know. If you want to do this from the top, like when you first get everything in, you can do it that way. I just like doing it this way. And over on the UV map, I'm just gonna scale it. If you had an image, like how I told you, like you can just put the colored image on there, you would sit here and match it up to that image to make sure it all matches and looks right. But I'm only using a color, so it doesn't really matter where I place these. I just don't like the UV map looking crazy. So now I'm gonna do the same thing for Miss Girl over here. Tab mode, pressing U and project from view. And now they're both properly UV mapped. If I click on both of them and click tab, as you see, it's all together. So now, because I have two meshes, I am going to click on the font, and then I'm going to click on the girl, and I'm going to click Control J, and I am going to merge them, and I just did with Control J. I hope I said Control J earlier when we merged the curves. I don't remember, but yeah, that's now it's a full one sign mesh. So now we have to get it in the Sims, and I'm gonna show you how to do that. All right, so this is where you want Sims 4 Studio to come into play. This is what it should look like. Make sure you always put your creator name, Sims 4 Studio is always being updated, so if you're starting off creating stuff, make sure you keep your stuff updated. But we're going to go over here to the object category, and we are going to click on create 3D mesh and click on object, and everything is loaded in. Of course we want to use something on the wall, so I usually search wall and see what pops up. Honestly, you can use anything. I personally like to use wall sculptures or like wall decor. I usually use the sun. I don't know why, I just think it has a good sense of depth to see like what I'm actually using. If you want to use the actual signs from Get to Work, you can. Like, they have all the signs here, you can export them, but I usually use the wall decor because I don't know, it doesn't matter, you can use anything that goes on the wall. So I like to use the sun, and then you want to click next and go to your EA game folder in The Sims 3 and go to your mods folder, and you want to put this in however your stuff is organized, wherever you want to put it, do that. I usually put my name in the front and name it, so that is my bodied sign. And then you want to, you know, load it in, click OK, load it in, and then you have your little, you know, sunny days wall decor. But of course this is not what we're trying to do, so you're gonna go over to the meshes tab and you want to export mesh. Go over and export mesh, and this one is not going in your CC folder. I'm actually just gonna put this on my desktop. Let me not put this on my desktop. I have an essentials folder, so I'm gonna put this in this folder, and I'm gonna call it wall decor base. And it's gonna export, which shouldn't take this long. Okay, and now it is done exporting. We won't be able to fully like transfer this properly when it comes to just opening it in an older version of Blender. To make things go in Sims 4 Studio, you have to be in an older version of Blender. It's very annoying, but it sort of is what it is. So I am going to click on my sign. You want to click on your sign, you want to go to file, export, and then you want to do day, D-A-E, day. And you can put this anywhere too. I usually just put this on my desktop. You can either name it something, or it's usually named whatever your file is named. I'm gonna name it bodied wall sign. And then you want to export collada. And we just exported our sign out. So now we want to move to a older version of Blender. I am going to use Blender 2.78. I don't keep it installed on my computer, but I keep it like, you have an option to either do like a zip file with the folder, or you can have it installed. I usually keep it in a folder on my desktop, and so I have a Blender 2.79 folder. And I'm gonna open that up. As you see, it looks a little bit older. And now I'm going to, we're not gonna do anything with this like we did with the other Blender. Now we're going to go to open. We're going to find where we put the base that you exported. So how I exported the sun, you're gonna, whatever you are using as your base, you're gonna go and find. So I use the sun, let me find it, wall decor base, and you're gonna open Blender file, and this is where it is. So now it's the same keys in this Blender. I'm gonna go one front view, but the difference is I'm gonna go to view and I'm gonna do view perspective. That's just better for me. That's what I like. You can stay in the other view, but I like this. So now to get our sign over here, we want to go to file, import day, and then you find where you save that day file. I put mine in desktop. Here it is. And then you want to import. And as you see, now we have our sign in Flesh. Mine doesn't have a back because I didn't solidify it. So yeah, that's fine with me. If you don't like that, you can solidify it and decimate it if it's too much, but I don't want it back on the girl. So now I'm gonna click 1 again on my keyboard, and I'm gonna pull this down so we can do G, Z, and pull this down. Basically, you're going to line it up to wherever the base is. Like, even though the face is out like here, mine's would actually be further back where like the little rays are. I guess that's what they called. So you're gonna line your sign up with the base. I'm okay with it being like right here. And now what we want to do is to just get it in alignment with Sims 4 Studio. You want to bring this sidebar over by literally just clicking on it and dragging it a little bit. And you go over here to object data, which is like this triangle, and you go down to UV maps, and it has like a special UV map name that comes from the newer Blender, but we're gonna change this to UV_0. And we're also going to click the plus sign, and we're gonna do UV_1, just so everything matches up, so the textures don't mess up. So now we want to click on Sims 4 Studio Mesh 1. So Sims 4 Studio Mesh 1, when it comes to decor and stuff like that, is usually like the actual object. And then Sims 4 Studio Mesh 0 is usually the shadow. I don't like using shadows. I don't think they look good in game. So I'm going to show you how to get rid of that. But basically what you want to do is click on Sims 4 Studio Mesh 1. You want to click tab. Okay. And then you're going to select everything with A. And you want to do X. And then you want to delete vertices. Okay, so the sun is not there when we import this. And as you see, we still have the little shadow right there. So now we're gonna click Sims 4 Studio Mesh 0, and you want to click on tab, click A, and you'll go over here to like the UV editor, the side portion, which is already set up for you in this older Blender. And you want to click A on this side too, and make sure everything is highlighted. And you go to this picture. So you go to this picture over here in the bottom, and it says browse image to be linked. And you want to go to the one that says diffuse, but it has this white like background. You can either look at the 0 image or like diffuse, but I look at diffuse. And so now this image pops up, and these are the different shadows you can use. So they have like a circle one, they have rectangles, all that stuff, but I don't want anything. So I'm gonna put this square, which you basically press A to select all, and then you move it with G. I'm gonna click G and move this to the white in this picture and scale it down a little bit because I don't want any shadows. So now it's all white, And the last step for this older blender is we want to click on our sign right here. And you want to click on Sims for Studio Mesh 1. How you do that is you'll click Shift with the left mouse button. So Shift left mouse, and you're going to do Control J to join it. So now everything is labeled Sims for Studio Mesh 1, and then we still have the 0. Hopefully I explained that well. I don't know if I did, but yes. Now we're gonna export it, or like get it in Sims 4 Studio. So you want to file, save as, and then put this wherever you wanted and name it whatever you want. I'm gonna call it body sign. And you're gonna save it. I'll minimize it. And now you should still have this open. If not, you can just go and find the package file in your files, and you go to the meshes tab again, and now you're gonna import mesh. But before we do that, let's put the texture on it. So I'm gonna go to the texture. As you see, they had this set up, but I only have my color. So you could do more than color if you want to, but I don't do that much when it comes to signs. So I'm gonna import the white texture, and then now we're gonna go back to the meshes tab, and we're gonna import mesh. We are gonna import mesh in the meshes tab, and we're gonna find wherever we put the sign. This is mine, and you're gonna click open. Now you're just waiting for the mesh to import, which shouldn't take long if you don't have a high poly sign, as mine didn't. So now you see we have our sign in Sims 4 Studio. I am going to take away these swatches. Sure, it's white. I'm also gonna add my other color by doing add swatch and importing the black one. Perfect. And if you go to catalog, this is where you can name your objects. I always just put my name in front and brackets. And I'm just gonna call it body sign, and you can add a description if you want and change the price if you want. And yeah, we're gonna click save. And one thing that I hate is the specular, which means the shine on the sign, when especially I didn't ask for it. So if you go over to this, you see how it says studio and then warehouse. If you go over to warehouse and scroll down, there is these two images that say DST image, and one of them is the specular, which is how shiny your sign is, and then the other one is like a normal map. This one is the normal map, and then this one is the specular. So you want to get a blank version of these. I don't know. I'm gonna see if I can find the link to see if it's still around. I tried to look before and nobody had it. So if I end up not finding the link, I'll just do like a cute, like quick dry file, so y'all all will be able to get the blank images or something. But I have them already on my computer, so I'm gonna import on the gray one the normal map, which is usually you want to click on this arrow and do DDS. I think it's in this folder. No, it's not. Be organized, y'all, because I'm not. Okay, it's in here. So yeah, if I don't end up finding the images that people originally made, I will put them in like a dry folder, because I haven't been seeing the link even though I used to have it. And so I'm gonna put the blank bump, and then I am going to do the same thing for the specular. You can always tell the difference between the two, because one is like gray and the other one is like more like a greenish. That should take away the little imprinting too that usually happens when it comes to signs. And yeah, so now we're gonna save. I save like 5 times just in case. So now we are going to see our sign in game. All right, everyone, I just searched my name. I came in game, searched everything, even though this is, I have so much decor, it took a little minute. But yeah, this is the hair salon that we built on stream. But let's look at our sign, because here it is with the same name. We named it and everything. And if I go ahead and put it up here, which I like it in white, we have a sign. Mine is a little bit more flat because that's how I made it. But as I already told y'all, you can add some depth. And what you want to do to not, like, when you zoom out, to see this, I'm gonna show you. But yeah, the sign works in game. But let me show you the last thing to do, so when you zoom out, you don't see that, and then we're done. We're done! You did it! So the last thing you want to do, which you're gonna do this when you're out of game, I'm just not closing my game because I'm gonna go stream, is you want to open back up your sign in Sims 4 Studio, right? And go back to the mesh tab. And oh, I forgot to tell you all, with these other ones too, you want to click on the shadows and you'll just re-import the same mesh that you already had. So I'll just go find the file that I had to even put the sign in here, and I'll load that into the shadow map LOD0. So as you see, our LOD0 is already done, which is like our what we imported into Sims 4 Studio. So now you need to do the other LODs. LODs mean when you zoom out, you'll be able to see a version of that mesh. Right now we only have LOD0, so while I'm close you can see it, but I don't have LOD1, so I can't see it from here, and I don't have LOD 2, so I can't see it from farther, even farther out. So what you want to do is you go back to your Blender file in the older Blender, and you want to click on your Sims 4 Studio Mesh 1. You want to go to the modifiers tab, and you're going to decimate just like you did before in the other one, but except we're now in the older Blender. And you know, you click on decimate, you go into tab mode, select everything with A, and you're going to decrease this a little bit. It doesn't matter if it messes up at this point because you're gonna see it from far away. So honestly, I can take it a little bit lower. And you're going to apply it and then file save, but not as the same name as your other one because this is like something different. So I usually do LOD0 and I save it, and then you're going to import it into Sims 4 Studio. You click on LOD1. Well, I named it LOD0, but you know, you click on LOD1 and then you import what you just saved. Do the same thing for the shadow, and then do the other LOD, and then you're done. Save it, and then you should see it now that it's far away. Well, that is how I create 3D signs in you know, Blender, and then on to The Sims 4. Hopefully that was helpful. I'll try to answer questions in the comments, but please do not talk to me crazy, okay? I'm just trying to help the girls out. And yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Everything will be in the description box. I'll link everything that I talked about in the description box. And yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed. And I'll see y'all in the next one. Hey, in the next one. I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye, guys.